Welcome back to the Barrel Zone, 3rd of February, 10 game slate for this Wednesday morning. We have a couple of bets already in, looking at multiple games. This is a great slate for betting, in my opinion. Hopefully, we can make some money together. We will get right into it. Disclaimer, no show tomorrow. There will be only 5 games, so I'm taking the day off. I will be back for Friday and Saturday as usual. We have pretty juicy slates for the weekend. If you have any comments regarding the show or feedback, please reach out in the comments or on Twitter at The Barrel Zone. If you want to grab my plays, you can go to patreon.com/The Barrel Zone and join the Discord channel. I'm posting detailed write-ups on all the games every morning. And obviously, you can get my picks first there. So we will get right into it. The first game, Milwaukee Bucks hosting the Indiana Pacers. Pacers are on a back-to-back and playing the third game in 4 nights. They are coming off an easy win over the Memphis Grizzlies. Everyone played 35 minutes or less. I think everyone will play here. We don't have injury report for this game. Teams aren't made to publish their injury reports if they are playing back-to-back. So we will just get a report later. But I think everyone will be playing. My line would be Milwaukee minus 6.5, 6.5. If these were on equal rest, we have 8.5s up on books. I think that's completely fair. I've been bashing the Milwaukee defense lately. They are grading as league average through the whole season, even worse through the last 2 weeks. I think they are outside of the top 20 through the last 2 weeks. But they still do have a plus 7 point differential. Offense is right around the top of the league. I mean, it still works, but the defense isn't great, and this isn't a team that has been covering these big spreads. They are minus 3 on average against closing spreads. I mean, yeah. Again, I don't really like to lay these big numbers against teams that are relatively decent. Pacers are grading as the 8th best offense in the league through the whole year, through the last 2 weeks. Also, defensively, again, they are not really great since Oladipo was traded, and I know many people bashed Oladipo for not playing that great defense, including myself. But they are allowing 4 more points per 100 possessions since Oladipo left. They are grading as the 17th best defense right now, but they have been around the middle of the pack when so a bit better when Oladipo was still here. Still, overall, the Pacers have a slightly better defense than the Bucks, but the difference between the offenses is pretty big, as the Bucks grade as the best offense and Indiana is the 8th best, as I was saying. So Milwaukee is putting up about 7 points more per 100 possessions. Obviously, they are fully rested. Rebounding edge is pretty big. Bucks grade in the top 10 on both sides. Milwaukee Pacers bottom 10, so they are 21st in offensive rebounding. I think 20th in defensive rebounding. So yeah, huge rebounding edge, fully rested home team, obviously better offense. I don't see a number edge, so yeah, we'll go just to the next game. But the Pacers, one thing to note, they are 3-0 ATS on tail legs of back-to-back, so this is nothing new. This roster has been pretty decent in back-to-backs in the last couple of years also, since they have been together. So yeah, if I had to take a side, I would probably go with the Pacers, to be honest, but I don't like the game for betting. Next game, Charlotte Hornets hosting the Philly 76ers. Philadelphia is coming in on extra rest here. They don't really have any injuries. Embiid looks to be a go. For Charlotte, they won't have PJ Washington. He's averaging 12.7 rebounds. Obviously, decent starter for this ball club, and Rozier is questionable. He did work out on Tuesday, so he's probably leaning towards playing. We will see this, I think, in the first injury report. He might be upgraded to probable. He is averaging 18 points. Him out would be a slight hit to the offense, but I think not. I don't remember the name of the guy who is backing him up, but he is one of the more efficient players on the team when it comes to offensive efficiency. But still, if he's out, I would have to downgrade the team a bit. So yeah, the game is off the board. The books that have lines up have Philly minus 7.5. I think that's a bit too much. I'm closer to 6.5 myself. Obviously, this is Rozier with Rozier out. If he is in, I think this should be 6-ish. Yeah, so Philly at home, they have been great. They are always one of the most dominant home teams, but they are just 500 on the road. I don't like laying too many points with them, especially as this isn't a terrible matchup for the Hornets. I'm always saying Philly needs to out-rebound you, and they need to get the extra free throws to dominate you. The offense isn't that efficient without the extra points from the charity stripe. The Hornets are giving up the 6th least free throws in the game in the whole league. I mean, that's a pretty decent number to go against the strong Philly team who is drawing the second most free throws. Yeah, rebounding edge huge for Philly. They are ranked 8th in offensive, 14th in defensive rebounding. Charlotte is ranked 17th and 29th. Philly already has 2 comfortable wins over the Hornets. They closed 9.5 and 8-point favorites at home. They won both games by 15 plus. Yeah, so I'm really torn here, to be honest. I like the matchup for both defenses. Charlotte is putting up the 7th most shots around the rim in the whole league, and Philly is one of the top defenses in the paint. On the other side, Philly is, as I said, free throw rate pretty decent for Charlotte on the defensive end, and Philly also putting up tons of mid-range jumpers. I think 3rd highest in the whole league. And Charlotte is allowing the least mid-range jumpers and the 4th lowest field goal percentage from that range. So yeah, I like the matchup for both defenses. I'm not sure Philly will be super dominant here, as they have been in the 2 games that were played at home. They are kind of hot right now, so market support might be on the big road favorite here. I think this settles around 6.5. I would lean towards Hornets, but no play. We have way better games to bet into today. I don't think you are forced to bet this game. Next game, Cleveland Cavaliers hosting the LA Clippers. This will be a quick one. Clippers are coming off a loss. They lost last night to Brooklyn. Kawhi played 39 minutes. George played 36. Obviously, injury report will have to be checked. There is a pretty good shot that either one of these 2 guys or both will sit this one out. That would move the line at least like 10 points if both are out. So yeah, Clippers -9 is the line we see on softbooks. I have this between 8 and 9 myself, so no huge edge. Something we have to note, Cleveland frontcourt has been pretty decent this season, but they won't have Nance now. Love is already out and Drummond is questionable, so they are getting a bit thin. Allen has been great while Drummond was out, so it's not a giant issue, but still something to monitor. They are losing a lot of bodies there. So yeah, the Cavs, they have been one of the better defenses through the whole season, but since Garland and Sexton came back and they have started to play more like faster pace, better offensive game overall, the defense has been struggling. So they are now the 19th rated defense through the last 2 weeks, despite getting rated 7th in the league through the whole season. -4 point differential, pretty similar stuff we see them when it comes to the net rating through the whole season, but the game has changed for a bit for them. So the defense isn't as dominant. Obviously, offensively they are a bit better. Couple of nice things about Cleveland. They are one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the league. They still force the most turnovers defensively. But I mean, the offense just isn't so good, and the defense is also mediocre right now. Clippers on the other side, top 3 offense through the whole season. Defense is getting better. Nothing makes me want to buy Cleveland here, but if Clippers sit George and Kawhi, they are kind of unbackable against a tough team at home. But yeah, I make the line between 8 and 9, so I'm okay with the Clippers -9s if both Kawhi and George are playing. But incredibly important to check the injury report here. I think one of the guys will surely sit. Next game, Miami Heat hosting the Washington Wizards. Shitty games are on the top of this slate, but this will get way better in the next couple of games. And we'll have a few bets, I promise. So Miami is laying 8 points at home against the Washington Wizards. I'm still not liking what I see from Miami, but this will be the first game where they have almost everyone back. So Hero will be back, Bradley is back, Dragic is back. Obviously, Butler has been back for a few games. They only have Harkless out, I think, right now from the core rotation. So yeah, Miami is fully healthy. But if you look at their season-long numbers so far, it's not really fair as they have been without their best players for a long time. But they are bottom 10 on both sides of the ball in all major metrics, bottom 10, and they face the pretty easy schedule. So this is not a team you really want to trust. Just look at the last two games. They are on a long homestand, so they are laying 8 points now. In the last game, they laid 7.5 against Charlotte. They lost outright in overtime. They laid 6.5 against the Kings. They won by 1 barely. Yeah, I don't think they have this together. To be honest, if I had to take a side, I would probably go with the Wizards if everyone is in. Washington is on a back-to-back. They played last night. Beal played 38 minutes, Westbrook 33. They gave up 132 points to the Portland Blazers. I mean, Blazers are still without McCollum and Nurkic, but I mean, Gary Trent Jr. had 26 points. This Wizards defense is just terrible. I just watched the game. Hachimura played great. Overall, I like the effort from the Wizards, but I mean, defensively, they just cannot put it together, but at least the offense is somewhat better lately. So yeah, this is a good game to skip, but I'm telling you, I think 8 is a lot to lay with the Heat. You have to give some credit to the Wizards. Now they have many pieces back. I'm closer to 7 here by upgrading the Heat quite a bit, just because they are getting all these pieces back. But these guys have been out for a long time. They aren't 100%. This will need time to get better, and I think this line is already like asking you to pay like a peak price for the Heat, and they aren't really there yet, in my opinion. We need to see it. All right, next game. I have a bet here. I really like this game, and we have a couple of good games here to close up the slate. So Atlanta Hawks are hosting the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas Mavericks are a team that I felt I cannot rate right since everyone was back for them from the injuries and the COVID thing. I always showed value against them, like the last 5-6 games. I didn't think they should have closed as favorites against the Phoenix Suns. I thought that they were like only getting like 4 points against Utah. Wasn't enough, and 2 points in the other game. They were +2 in Denver. I mean, the last 6 games, they have lost all 6 games. They didn't cover 1 game, and the market is still rating them super high. I know that they have a high ceiling. I also think they have a high ceiling and they will get better. But the amount of respect they are getting in the market is getting out of hand. And I think my current rating is better than what the market rates them right now. After seeing them consistently getting overvalued and not covering these games, not looking good in these games. Yeah, so I think they are overvalued once again. For the Hawks, DeAndre Hunter is out. He is the most important injury in this game. Mavs have everyone in. Hunter is averaging 17 points. He's one of the most efficient players in the whole league when it comes to offensive efficiency. He's putting up 127 points per 100 possessions. Super great player in the middle of the lineup. He will be probably Cam Reddish will draw the start. He was pretty bad the last time out, but at least he's throwing the extra free throws, and I will talk about that. That's super important against the Mavs. So yeah, I still cannot make Atlanta dogs. I'm close to a pick'em with Hunter out. Um, yeah, Mavs through the season they rank as the 17th best offense, 22nd best defense. Through the last 2 weeks, 16th best offense, 29th best defense. Yeah, they have a minus 8 point differential, -7 against the closing spreads on average. They are allowing 121 points per 100 possessions through the last 2 weeks. That's pretty insanely bad. And I'm always saying that they have faced the most difficult schedule out of all teams in the whole league. They have played the Suns twice now, the Jazz twice, Rockets, Nuggets, Spurs, Pacers. They didn't have like one gimme game through the last 2-3 weeks. So it's unfair to bash them, but they continue to disappoint even against the spread. I mean, underperforming your closing spread by 7 points on average, that's a lot, and it's not fluky. I think the guys coming back from COVID, some of them are looking super off. This might go away. This might go away here, but I think the market is still not rating them correctly. So yeah, I like the matchup also for the Hawks. They are the 11th best offense, 9th best defense through the year, and they are super consistent. So if you check any 2 week part of the schedule, they are always grading around the 10th on both sides of the ball. They played this pretty tough schedule themselves. Rebounding edge, huge. Hawks are 5th in offensive rebounding, 13th in defensive rebounding. Dallas is grading 28th and 20th. Hawks throwing the most free throws in the game. Dallas is giving up the 3rd most in the whole league. Atlanta defense allowing the 9th lowest points per possession, 3rd lowest effective field goal percentage against the league average offense, as I was saying. Also, 38% of the shots from the Mavs are coming from downtown. They are shooting tons of threes. Atlanta is allowing the 2nd lowest 3-point percentage. So yeah, a lot of things make me want to like ATL here. They only have 10 wins, but 12 expected wins. Tough schedule, super consistent, great defense, especially against the 3. Good rebounding. Both teams have a game tomorrow, but again, I think the angle kind of favors the Hawks here as they play the Utah Jazz. On the tail end of a back-to-back, I think they know they will lose that game. They will be pretty big dogs. I already set my lines for tomorrow. I will make Utah around the 6-point favorite on the road. So yeah, they will probably lose that game, while the Mavs are hosting the Warriors at home, which is a way easier game. So I think if this starts to get out of hand, or maybe just ATL gets up like by 10 or something, Mavs might punt the second half of the game. I'm not betting based on this angle, but I think this is a real angle, and these are some smart coaches, especially on the Dallas side, and he will understand that they will need to start winning some games. I mean, if you look at where the Mavs stand right now, one of the worst teams in the West, and yeah, tomorrow's game is very winnable. So yeah, I like the Hawks here. I think this should be a pick'em. Maybe like Mavs by half a point or something like that. But I mean, if you consider everything, the current line is a bit off. All right, next game, OKC Thunder, Houston Rockets, hosting the Houston Rockets. This is an interesting game again. Injury news, we can play around this injury, in my opinion. So this is a rematch. The first game closed Houston -4.5. Houston blew OKC out easily. This one opened -6.5, and it was at 4.5 when the game got pulled from the market, because SGA will be out for OKC. We already knew that John Wall will be out for Houston, so that was factored in when the line was Houston -4.5. And then the SGA news came and the game got pulled. There are some books that are dealing 6s and 6.5s right now. I think that's the best bet you can make today by far if you catch those. SGA is a 3-point plus player for this team and I don't think that's debatable. They basically have two guys who are scoring efficiently, SGA and George Hill will also be out. So yeah, SGA is averaging 21 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Obviously, by far the best player, best offensive threat on the team. They have some good defenders, but overall, there isn't really a guy who will step up on the offensive end and produce if he's out. George Hill also he's averaging 127 points per 100 possessions. That's like DeAndre Hunter level efficient, like top 10% in the league. And these two guys have a 31 and an 18% usage rate, and they are like averaging like 35 points. Like the two of them. So like huge loss for the offense. Someone called Theo Maledon started for George Hill out, some French 18-year-old guy. I mean, yeah, nice stuff. But I mean, you won't be able to hang with Houston like this, in my opinion. In the first game, Houston put up a 62% effective field goal percentage, huge rebounding edge, obviously. Since the new Houston team got together, they are the best defense in the whole league, allowing 101 points per 100 possessions. That's insanely good. They have a plus 12 point average point differential, plus 12.5 against the spread. So yeah, Houston is playing some amazing ball. Offensively, they aren't like lights out. They are barely better than league average, but they aren't giving up points, and they are pushing a pretty high pace, so they can still cover these games easily. OKC offense through the season, 28th in points per possession, 30th in offensive rebounding, 28th in free throw rate. I mean, overall, just not great, and they are missing two of their better scorers. I think this will go to 7.5, maybe even 8. If this reopens, at least I think 7.5. That's a fair line. I would probably line it there. But I mean, based on what we've seen so far, this could be a one-way traffic. I like Houston here. If you can grab anything around 6.5 right now, that's a great bet. Why I'm not putting my house on this is that Houston is playing Memphis tomorrow. Obviously, John Wall won't play today. They might take it a bit easier, but I think still they have to be the side. Again, one more thing: the total. I'm rarely betting into totals, but 221 is just too much against the best defense in the league that OKC will face without their two best scorers. Houston won't have John Wall. He's averaging 18 points. Yeah, I think you can like split your wager between the total and Houston, or just parlay up Houston money line with all this stuff. I really like Houston here. OKC has been trending towards a pretty bad direction before SGA went down. So yeah, we will see how long he's out. This might be just precautionary, but still we'll have to fade them here. Next game, Chicago Bulls hosting the New York Knicks. Bulls are laying 3 points at home. This is a rematch. First game closed Bulls by 3.5. They won that game. So yeah, New York was on a back-to-back in the first game. They aren't on a back-to-back right now. I think the 3 is okay. I'm closer to 2.5 myself. But I'm not sure the Knicks will go back to the form they have been at to start the season. So they are now at 9-13, and the defense isn't playing as well as it did to start the season. Through the last 2 weeks, they are just graded as the 18th best defense, while they are like easily top 10 through the first few weeks of the season. They have been rated as high as top 3 for like multiple weeks. So yeah, I don't like what I'm seeing from the Knicks lately. Offense has been tiny bit better, but the defense has been way worse than before. And on the other side, the Bulls have been kind of stepping it up. They are ranked between the 15th and the 25th in basically everything in the league, so they are still like a bottom 10-ish team. But a couple of stats that I think are noteworthy with them. 6th best effective field goal percentage offensively for the Bulls. Best defensive rebounding in the league. Those aren't stats that you should overlook, I think. Especially as the Knicks rebounding has been regressing also. So yeah, rebounding is getting worse, defense is getting worse. Offense through the season ranked 26th. It's not a squad that, I mean, you can trust offensively. That's why I always feel bad when I have to back the Knicks. In the first game between these two, they had a 46% effective field goal percentage, insanely low. They put up 104 points per 100 possessions. So yeah, overall, I think these two teams are pretty similar at the talent level. I don't like where the Knicks are heading. I show a slight edge on New York, but I'm not going to bet into this game. We will see. I think I will sit their next few games out and see where they are heading at, because I don't have an idea right now. And yeah, the Bulls, I mean, they have way more talent offensively. And yeah, the defense has been playing slightly better. Actually, through the last 2 weeks, the Bulls defense is grading better than the Knicks defense. That's all you have to know if you know that the Knicks firepower is nowhere near as the Bulls firepower is at. Next game, San Antonio Spurs laying 8 points on the road to the Minnesota Timberwolves. You are asked to pay some extra here if you want to back the Spurs. I think 7 is the right number, 8 is a bit too much, but the Wolves are just 1-8 on the road. Obviously, you will have to pay an extra to get on the better side of these trends. Karl Anthony Towns still out for Minnesota. I won't be backing this team until he is back. Russell is questionable, but he was questionable for 2 straight games. He played through the injury. I think he will play. So I'm just setting my line with only Karl Anthony Towns out and everyone else in. For the Spurs, Aldridge is out. Yeah, he will be kind of missed here against the Minnesota team that can be easily out rebounded. The Wolves are last in defensive rebounding. Huge rebounding edge for the Spurs. Minnesota offense, 29th in effective field goal percentage, 30th in points per possession. Pretty terrible on both sides of the ball. I'm not really going to waste time on this game. Only one thing to note, Spurs are ranked 23rd defensively through the last 2 weeks, 18th offensively. So yeah, they're kind of league average-ish offensively, but they have been regressing hard on the defensive side. They have a -4 point differential and more than -6 on average against the closing spread. So you have a team with an average-ish defense and a below average, average-ish offense and a below average defense that is -6 on average against the closing spread, and you are laying 8 points. Yeah. I mean, I think the Wolves still have some talent. Nasri should be back here. He has been playing some decent ball. Obviously, Russell can go off anytime. But yeah, this feels like a coin flip, really, if they will show up or if they will just punt this game. I make it 7. I think Spurs are a bad bet, but yeah, I cannot back the Wolves here. But I can back the Phoenix Suns in the next game against the New Orleans Pelicans. This one is pretty interesting. I'm always fading the Pels, especially in these close games. They have Steven Adams as questionable. I talked about the chemistry between Zion and Adams, and it isn't great. But I mean, Adams is a super important piece in this team when it comes to the rebounding, as they have to maintain the rebounding edge to beat you. If they don't have the rebounding edge, they will lose. So yeah, Adams was out in the last game, and Sacramento, who is a decent rebounding team, but they had a 37% offensive rebounding against the Pelicans in their W. I think that's not a great trend, and yeah, so yeah, if Adams is out, I really like Phoenix, but overall, still, the Suns have been graded as the 5th best defense through the last 2 weeks. Offense is just league average, but the defense has been playing better and better. And Phoenix faced the 5th most difficult schedule in the league. Defensive rebounding has been decent for them. They are 4th best in defensive rebounding, which will obviously come in handy facing such a strong rebounding team as the Pelicans. Pels just faced the 21st most difficult schedule. They are in the bottom 10 of the league on both sides of the ball. They have been bottom 5 defensively for pretty consistently for a good while now. So yeah, if we see how the Phoenix teams just matches up here, I mean, they are better on both sides of the ball by a pretty big margin. They allow the 5th lowest points per possession defensively, 9th lowest effective field goal percentage. The Pelicans are 19th in points per possession, 21st in effective field goal percentage on the offensive end. If we flip the sides, Pelicans defense 27th in points per possession, 26th in effective field goal percentage versus Phoenix offense, who is 13th in points per possessions and 11th in effective field goal percentage. Yeah, Pelicans are putting up tons of shots in the paint. They are attacking the rim like crazy, but efficiency isn't there. So yeah, they have the 4th highest rate of shots coming from the paint, but the efficiency is just 15th. Phoenix is a borderline top 10 defense when it comes to defending the paint. So yeah, overall, I like the matchup. I think the Phoenix defense is for real. The rebounding has been getting a bit better for them. Pelicans, I mean, if Adams is out, this is a bad matchup for them. I don't trust the team on either sides of the ball. They have faced just the 21st most difficult schedule, while Suns have been facing the 5th most difficult schedule. The average point differential between the two teams in the last 2 weeks has been like almost 10 points. And yeah, Suns have Booker back. Obviously, some backups are still out, but I mean, if Adams is out, I think this is the game to lose. I make it Phoenix -3, 3.5 maybe, but I think 3 is where this should stop. Current line is basically that on the market, 2.5 -114 on Pinnacle. So heavily leaning towards 3, but you can still grab some 2s, 2.5s. I think Bookmaker was at 2 earlier. I think that's a fair line. And I think it will only get better if Adams is out. If he is in, I think this stops at 3. But I don't have I will gladly pay fair price to back the Suns here, given the matchup. I think the Suns, the Pelicans are a bad team. They aren't put together well. The pieces just aren't fitting, and the Suns have a pretty decent matchup here. They already played, by the way, and Suns won by, I don't know, 30. It was a huge blowout back when the season started. So yeah, I kind of like the Suns here. Next game and the final one on the slate, Boston Celtics are going into Sacramento to face the Kings. Celtics are on a back-to-back. They beat Golden State last night. Thing to note here, Tatum played 38 minutes. Everyone else played 32 or less. Let's check the injury report. He might have been... his minutes limit might have been this high, as they are maybe planning to sit him here. Tatum played these 40-ish minutes earlier in the season, but obviously he was out for a pretty long time now. This will be probably the first back-to-back since he's back, or at least the first where he's playing such huge minutes. So yeah, if before I make any wager here, I will wait for the injury report. If Tatum is in, I think the Celtics are a decent look, especially as the current line on Sportsbooks is Celtics -1.5. So yeah, if they weren't on a back-to-back, I would make this like 6, 5.5. With the back-to-back, obviously, Smart also out for Boston. I think 3.5 is probably a fair price here, if Tatum is in, obviously. If you have books where you can just sit on a bet and you can cash it out at 100%, you should probably sit on the Celtics -1.5. Wait for the news about Tatum. If he's in, just leave it in. If not, then cash it out. Yeah, so the Celtics, borderline top 10 on both sides of the ball. Really good defensively, decent since everyone was back. So they had a huge streak without Tatum. Obviously, Kemba was just coming back like 10 days ago or 2 weeks ago. But since everyone is back, they have a +6.5 point differential, +5 on average against the closing spread. And they did beat some pretty decent teams. The Kings are a team I was hyping them up recently. They are a borderline top 10 offense, pretty decent offensive rebounding, good efficiency. I like their offense, to be honest, but I think the Boston defense is kind of playing at a similar level or a bit even better. So if I would have to take a side, I would probably lean towards the Boston defense, just slowing them down a bit. But I want to talk about the Kings defense a bit. They rank 30th in the league in points per possession through the whole season, so dead last. But they have been the 10th best defense through the last 2 weeks. And I was checking the games, the box scores, what's happening. And basically what's happening is that they face the super easy schedule in this last 2 weeks where their stats just got way better. So the last 6 games, this is the last 2 weeks, they lost to the Clippers by 20, obviously. Then they face the Pelicans. We just talked about them, bottom 3 offense. Then they face the Heat. We just talked about them, bottom 5 offense. The Raptors, league average-ish. Magic, bottom 3 offense, and the Knicks, bottom 5 offense. So yeah, they beat 5 shitty offenses up. And I think the defensive numbers are a bit skewed, and I think the market might be overvaluing them right now. I really wanted to back the Kings, and I normally want to back them, but I think this recent streak might be a bit flukish. So yeah, we will see. Obviously, Boston offense 8th best in points per possession, 12th in effective field goal percentage, 7th in offensive rebounding, and the Kings defense through the season, they allow the highest points per possession, the 3rd highest effective field goal percentage. They are forcing the 4th and 5th least turnovers. They are 5th, 25th in defensive rebounding. Sorry. So yeah. Bad in rebounding on the defensive end against a good rebounding team. They won't force any turnovers. They allow very high effective offense. And they are a bottom 5 3-point defense against one of the better teams when it comes to shooting from downtown. So yeah, I think if this is less than 3 and everyone is in, or even at 3, I like the Celtics. 1.5, I think that's way off if Tatum is playing. I'm gonna check. What was the line they closed at against? Yeah, so they closed -2.5 against Golden State. Yeah, I just cannot get to -1.5. I mean, maybe you could, based on that, you could get here, but yeah, I think the Kings defense might be still a bit flukish. And while I respect the offense, I don't think the defense is just good enough here. So this is it for today. I'm quickly recapping what sides and looks I like. So yeah, in the Hornets Sixers game, I'm closer to 6.5 with Charlotte. That's not one game I will bet into. Another edge that I won't play is the Washington Wizards. I think that 8 should be 7.5 if everyone is in for the Wizards. Obviously, they are on a back-to-back, played high minutes. Bill Westbrook, they have to be monitored. I like the Hawks. I cannot make them home dogs against the Mavericks, who have been consistently underperforming the market expectation. Market is still super high on them. I know their ceiling is high, but I just don't see it yet. Houston Rockets, I think basically almost any number under like 8, 7.5, they should be a decent look. Timberwolves are getting too many points in my opinion, but another game that I'm skipping. I like the Suns laying just 2.5 to 3 against the Pelicans team that has so much issues. It's insane. And I think at 1.5, the Celtics are a decent look against the Kings. So yeah, if you just want to go for the stronger leans, I think Houston is a decent one. And I like the Suns a lot. Celtics, Houston, yeah. So this is it for today. It was a pretty long slate. I'll take tomorrow off, as I said when I started the podcast, and I will be back on Friday, and we will stream on Friday and Saturday, and then yeah, Sunday will be another day off. There are only 5 games on Sunday. So yeah, good luck tonight with the wagers. If you want to hop into the Discord, you can go to patreon.com/theparallelzone. If you just want to support the podcast, please like the video and the podcast and subscribe. It helps a ton. Hopefully the channel can grow. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Good luck with your wagers and thanks for tuning in.